One of the biggest things Invincible fights with in the duration of the Invincible TV show is his own morality. He struggles against the idea of becoming just like his father. At the start of Season 3, he is a naive little baby who refuses to fight people properly because he's scared to kill people, unlike his brother, who always goes for the kill. The Mauler twins were the first antagonists ever in the show, and then this little walking aubergine popped them like grapes. He even calls himself Little Big Omni-Man Jr. Like, my guy, come on. Cecil Stedman is like if a person could be the embodiment of a really, really wet fart. Like, something about this crusty looking dude controlling the GDA just sits weirdly with me. Okay, in all honesty, that has nothing to do with the notes I've made about this. I just really, really wanted to call him that. Okay, so Cecil is a utilitarianist who believes that all these superpowered convicts should be allowed to redeem themselves by working for him. And this literally saves Mark's and several others' lives with Doc Seismic. So Mark, understandably, throws a hissy fit, flies out of there, and even Eve's like, Mark, come on, get a grip. And he's like, no, I'm going to go over there and go call Cecil silly because he's being really mean and awful. Which obviously then leads to him killing a bunch of Rhiannon in a genuinely terrifying way. And for a guy so absolutely terrified of becoming just like his father, he sure kills the Rhiannon just like his father's killed the Guardians. And I mean, in the same HQ as well, like Robert Kirkman, that is a gold star for you. That is very clever, and I really respect that. You know, like, you literally can't get closer to making the man confront his own, like, morality and his own fears than that. You know, like the fear that he'd become evil. You can't make him confront that in a better way. That's foreshadowing, by the way, for later in the video. That is foreshadowing. Also, I just wanted to say that this entire time, the Immortal is, like, so quiet. Like, this dude exclusively talks about Mark. Like, I was going to say a bad word, but I can't say a bad word. He was exclusively talking about Mark when he knows Mark can't hear him. You know, he is so terrified. It reminds me of this Key and Peele skit.
Oh, hell yeah, man. I laid it out, right? I says, bitch,
Speaking of the Immortal, this dude absolutely loses his marbles when he goes to the future. Like, he has to become Space Hitler just so he can get Mark to kill him, which is absolutely baffling to me, looking at how timid this guy is earlier on in the show. Like, I love this episode. The Immortal is genuinely so well written in this. This dude went crazy after centuries of being alive and became Space Hitler, and to be honest, that's kind of valid. You know, like, he's been alive thousands of years. He just wants to die. Credit where it's due. The dude finally stood up to Mark, and I respect the hell out of that. Honestly, this entire arc is so dark. Like, right when he's in a good place, he finds out that he is directly responsible for creating this absolutely decrepit future. Also, can we just praise how hilarious this one joke is?
Where can I stash my clothes? Hey.
So you guys are probably thinking, alright, this cannot get that much worse for Mark. Like, there's no way it can. It can't get worse for Mark. But it does, because Jesse from Breaking Bad shows up and basically says, everything in Chicago was your fault and you're really stupid and I hate you. Okay, so that's not exactly fair. Powerplex lost his sister and niece in Chicago back in Season 1, and it's kind of crazy how they gave these two a storyline in the show. Like, credit to Amazon for this, that is amazing. These two people Mark failed to save are the entire reason Powerplex exists, and that is just it's such poetry. You know, like George Lucas said, it's like poetry, it rhymes. This gets even more messed up after he gets given the beef by Mr. Elastic and then gets beefed by Eve, leading to this man's master play to pretend to kidnap his own wife and child. So then he ends up facing off against Mark, who is low-key lovely about the whole thing, which ends up with Mark blaming himself for just killing his wife and child, even though it was entirely Powerplex's fault. I mean, sure, he got the power because Mark Roundhouse kicked him into next century to try and save these two people. And then when you think it can't get worse, when you think Invincible is about to smash Eve's atoms, KSI comes back and is like, sup, I survived, I did not die. Okay, so the Invincible War happened because Mark told KSI that he really didn't like his new music at the end of Season 2. So KSI finds a bunch of evil versions of Mark from across the universe, like Mustache Mark, Sinister Mark, Marks and Spencer's, Primark, Convincible, and Mohawk Man. But just to make a quick note, I absolutely loved Mohawk Mark in this because that man just did not care. He was just there. Like, I love him. He is amazing. You know, he's just there like, wah, someone misses their mommy. That is, to me, the peak of what Invincible should be as a hero. He needs to start saying that to villains. Maybe they'll stop coming back. Right, back to the video. KSI sends all of these evil Marks to go and destroy Earth. Like, Mark sat here wondering if he's a bad guy, if his morals are getting questioned, and then he literally has to face off against a bunch of versions of himself who are evil. Like, their realities are only slightly different to his own, and yet they have turned out so rotten compared to him. Like, I cannot imagine the mental pain this would put someone through. Mark fights versions of themselves with slightly different stories, and then Eve gets absolutely no-diffed by Omni-Man, who essentially hears her saying a bad language word, so he grabs her by the leg and smashes her into the pavement. Like, I wish I was making that up. It's absolutely insane. Tremendous episode. So then Mark, as you'd imagine, goes, no, I don't want to try and save the world anymore, Cecil, because my girlfriend has a broken ankle. So it's kind of your problem now, so, like, deal with it. Okay, bye, girlie. You know, like, he does that, and it's ridiculous because it's, like, the first time in the show Cecil is actually talking sense when he's like, Mark, you can't sit this out. What are you doing, fella? But yeah, eventually Angstrom turns up, and then Cecil tells Mark, and Mark goes, yeah, you know what, I'll scrap him. But this is only after Angstrom, or KSI, whatever you want to call him, sends all the bad Invincibles into a barren wasteland by blasting thick of it at them really loudly, and it pushes them through the portals because they just need to get away. It's ridiculous. You know, so then he comes up with Angstrom. You think the same's going to happen, but these little droid things, they don't do nothing to our Mark. He just cuts through them like glass. It's insane. Then he gets to Angstrom, and he's about to kill him, and that little popping, walking grape appeared, and he went, Mark, go on, kill him, kill him, kill him. This little grape, right? So then Mark goes up there, and you think he's going to be a big brother. He's going to go, no, we don't kill Oliver. We're just going to make sure that he doesn't do this again. But no, Mark goes, yeah, all right. You know what? You screwed up, you big KSI-looking dude. Grabs him, goes to kill him, fails, gets his arm in the process. Then Mark's just holding another arm. This is like the second time in the show we have had an episode where Mark ends up holding an arm that's been cut off, and that's kind of mental. He really likes his arms, does Mark. And you think, this cannot get worse. This man is having the worst week of his life. And then as he's helping the cleanup, Powerplex comes in and just goes, hey up, you're a prat. And then like they get rid of Powerplex. And then to make it worse, a big balding old man from space comes down and goes, hey up mate, you're a worm. It's Glenn v Negan round 2. And this time Glenn is angry at himself. And he straight up tells this dude that he is angry at himself. He's like, this is all my fault. I just want to hit you really hard. I hope that's okay. I'm really sorry. So they go to fight, and then he gets smashed into the floor. And it's like, wow. It starts looking really one-sided, actually. It looks like Mark's going to take over. Turns out, Mr. Conquest, he's just playing. He's just playing. He gets Mark. He starts ragging him about. He's demolishing this man. And then the flying grape appears. And is like, big-ass beatdown coming your way. Fly straight at him. You think, oh my god, Oliver's here. Kid Omni-Man. He's going to change the state of this battle. 2v1. He can't win. Like a basketball. He gets dribbled. Then he gets thrown through a building. Mark goes up to fight. Conquest puts him down and goes, now you listen to me. I'm going to go stretch this kid. I'm going to tear him in two, and you're going to sit there. Mark wakes up, sees Oliver a foot taller than he was before. This man gets angry. He gets there. He gets a few good hits in, and then boom. Conquest is playing again. He ain't having this. He picks up Mark. He starts fighting him again. You think, okay, this fight's kind of going somewhere now. He, just like Chicago, grabs this dude, drags him with his hand, flies forward, and smashes him through a crowd of people. And can we just quickly say on a note that earlier in this fight, when Mark's flying, grabbing him, and then he just like stops, that is insane. Mark is going full pelt at this guy, and he can just stop them both in midair. Okay, so we get to this island. Eve wakes up. She goes, I need to go save my boyfriend, Cecil. He goes, you know what, fine, do it. See what I care. I'm balding too. So I kind of relate to Conquest. So Eve gets there. You think she's going to win? Nah, she doesn't. She gets absolutely destroyed. Like, you think the leg break is bad in the previous episode. Wait until you see Eve get gutted like a fish. When she drops down, you think she's dead, right? Mark starts calling out for Cecil, which is so messed up. This scene is so ridiculously emotional, right? Mark changes. Negan's over there. He's going, look, I don't want to mess no more. Man, I respect this. I respect the hell out of you. This has been a good fight. Mark turns around, goes full Glenn, and just destroys this man's like robotic fist with his fist. It is insane. Smashes him to the ground, starts beating him up. You think Mark's going to have this. Eve wakes up. He gets distracted. Loses his other hand. Well, obviously, no, he doesn't. He doesn't lose his other hand yet. That was a spoiler. Eve wakes up. She starts going Super Saiyan. She shoots a beam of light at Conquest, right? Incinerates this man's clothes off. You think he's dead. He's not. This is Conquest we're talking about. This is Negan. He gets back up. Mark goes ballistic, thinking Eve could possibly be dead. Like, he pins this man down, loses his other hand when he's like, I got enough fight left for you, big boy. Right? Mark starts beating this guy. And then he decides to start telling Glenn. This is Negan, by the way. He starts trying to tell Glenn how lonely he is. He gets so close, he's like, look, Mark, I'm really lonely. I'm really lonely, Mark. And it's like, hang on a minute, mate. This is a bit weird. Amazing speech, though. Can't go wrong. So Mark, as you would do, spins him round, gets in there with his head, realises both his fists are broken, and just goes, you know what? Bosh! Headbutt, headbutt, headbutt. Crushes this man's skull with his skull. Watermelon and Negan for once. It's now 1-1. Can't wait to see the rematch. I wonder if it'll be like Fury Usyk. After this fight, Mark is in the hospital and his mother genuinely gives him the most heartbreaking speech ever. Like, Debbie has been such a slay this season, but this speech is just heartbreaking. It's about how guilty she feels for pushing Mark when he was younger, telling him about the powers, putting him into this life, just to see how hurt and beat up he gets. It's so emotional, and Paul's just there like doing his polo neck, making sure he's pretty. Paul is an important character. He is my favourite. But yes, to conclude, Mark's own morals cause a significant amount of his own problems, and he even goes and tells his baby brother that he's just going to stop holding back. In Season 3, Mark goes from a brightly coloured, optimistic baby to a battle-hardened, murderous killer who kills for the right reasons. Thank you for watching.